That looks good, right? That looks perfect. So let's work on this. Again, I'm going to write PEMDAS here so that we have something to look at. Obviously, after you get used to this, you won't have to do this as much, but let's do it for the sake of it. So, first things first, PEMDAS. P stands for parentheses. Oh no, I've got two sets of parentheses. I have the first set, which starts here and ends here, and then I have a second set that starts here and ends here. How do I know where I'm going to start? Here's what you're going to do. You're always going to work with the innermost parentheses first, okay? Meaning that your number one step is to work on what the innermost parentheses are. Notice how the parentheses around 2 minus 3 is inside of the parentheses that I underlined in green, okay? So that means you have to do the innermost parentheses. So this is number 1. That's your first step. So we're going to do that. We're going to leave 3 here. We're going to bring the 6 squared, 5, and then 2 minus 3 is negative 1. And I'm going to bring parentheses here. Now, we talked about how if we have a number outside of parentheses, we multiply, okay? Because there's no other operation there telling me what to do. This 5 is in front of these parentheses. So I'm going to multiply these together because there's actually an imaginary multiplication symbol here. Before I do that, I told you I'd mess up at some point. I should probably finish writing down the rest of my problem because otherwise I'm going to make a big mistake. Now, 5 times negative 1 gives me negative 5. So if I rewrite this, I get 3 times 6 squared minus 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. And now I only have one set of parentheses divided by negative 1/2 times 3/9. Still have to do parentheses, but what is inside of parentheses, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, I have an exponent attached to that 6, which means I have to do what's inside of parentheses, which is 6 squared. So this now becomes 3 times 6 squared, which is 36, minus negative 5. I'm just rewriting everything, divided by negative 1/2 times 3/9. Now I've got one more step inside of parentheses, which is 36 minus negative 5. And since I'm subtracting a negative is the same thing as adding a positive. Good. So I've got 3 times 36 minus negative 5 gives me 41, divided by negative 1/2 times 3/9. Okay. Again, we have, do we have parentheses? Technically, yes, but there's nothing to do inside of parentheses, so we're done with parentheses. Do we have any exponents left? No. We're done with exponents. Now we're left with multiplication, division, if there is any addition and or subtraction. Okay, but we're going to start with multiplication, division. Well, there's multiplication. First thing, 3 times 41. So we're going to do that. 3 times 41, good, is 123, divided by negative 1/2 times 3/9. Now we're going to solve this. Okay, we have, again, multiplication and division, but since division now comes first from left to right, we're going to divide here. Okay, and if I divide that, I'm going to write it off over here. Let's see if I can change this. Yeah, perfect. I've never done that before. So I had 123 divided by negative 1/2 times 3/9. I'm going to double check to make sure that I did my work right. 123 divided by negative 1/2 times 3/9. That's exactly what it says. So I'm good. Remember, when you divide by a fraction, you actually end up multiplying by the reciprocal. So negative 1/2, if I flip it, becomes negative 2/1, which is just 2. Okay, if you want to write it this way, that's fine. And then times 3/9. I don't need to do this. 123 times negative 2. Well, if I double 123, I get 246. And since it's a positive times a negative, it's negative 246. Okay, so all I did was multiply 123 times negative 2. Now I bring down my times 3/9 and I multiply. Okay, that's all I have to do left. That's all I have left to do. Wow, this is why I teach math and not English. Okay, and if I multiply 246 times 3, I get 738, I believe, over 9. And because it was a negative 246 times a positive 3, this fraction should be negative. And in fact, if you want to go a step further, you can reduce this. These are actually both divisible by 9. Okay, and this gives me negative 82. Okay, because 738 divided by 9 is 82, and since it's a negative over a positive, I get negative 82. And this is my answer to the original problem. If I go back, all of this right here equaled negative 82. All right, if you have any questions, let me know.